Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you. Um, I realize in scheduling this, we haven't had like a quick talk story connection and refresher. And it looks like at least the last year since at least February, we've been very, very busy. And, things have changed, staff has changed, and some process some have changed or like gotten a little bit more stricter than we're used to. Like they were always present, but it's more enforced now. And those are things that we can talk about later. But I think all of you, we've been keeping busy like at least four, five, six deliveries throughout the last so many months. So I want to thank you for that and joining us today. And I think there are a couple of instructors that emailed me that they're on assignment as well or traveling to an assignment. Um, so let's get started. All right. Um, so the purpose of this, just like I had mentioned earlier, just so that we can support you to deliver a seamless delivery, not just during the delivery, but the assignment, the beforehand, the travel, as well as the after the delivery and all the travel completion, just to go through that process to make sure we're supporting you. So we're going to focus on just what your responsibilities are, what the expectations are, and this is a refresher for many of you already keeping up with the guidelines and the policies, but it's always nice to be reminded. And then towards the end, we're just going to touch upon things on the horizon, things that everybody has been asking about or want more information on. And then if you have any questions, I do have several of the questions that some of the instructors emailed me beforehand. I'll get to those. And if questions pop up during the presentation, just drop it in the chat, just so that I can also record that and transcribe it so that those that are not able to attend will have the information as well. And then we'll go through any questions you might have. All right, let's kick it off. So I've said this before, preparation is key. And it's when you receive the assignment, review it, you execute it. At that point, you are free to move forward with your travel. But first, connect with your co-instructor if you do have one and coordinate a setup time with the POC. And all of your familiar, you forward the travel to the email listed there. Some of you have mentioned that it's been hard, especially since it's the summer and everybody has personal and professional things. You don't hear from your co-instructor in a timely manner, and you want to book your flights before availability changes, options, and lodging. I say, and even Lydia will agree with me, you reach out to your co-instructor and it appears maybe they're ghosting you. I don't know, because we don't know what's going on. Proceed with as best as you can with the guidelines assignment and book it. And then, you'll send that information to your co-instructor and they'll have to align with it. I mean, the thing is, you don't want to wait too long. We process each travel a month prior. So you're going to want to secure your things, especially if we cannot send the assignment 8 weeks out. So you won't have that long of a window to be waiting to see what your co-instructor uh, prefers time-wise or lodging-wise. And then we'll go back. This goes for virtual deliveries too. Assign your modules and then do the necessary preparation for the course, location, and the audience. I can try to provide you as much as I can when I assign you, but at that point, sometimes the host doesn't even tell me that, hey, I need this for this class. So I'm expecting you to reach out to them to see if there's anything that they need, any needs, whether it's they're working on some sort of exercise for the upcoming hurricane concert, or maybe they would need to work on a debris plan. Please reach out to them so that you can better coordinate with your co-instructor on how to approach the delivery for the target audience. So more preparation is key, and I kind of want to highlight that we I've been fortunate to attend a lot of deliveries this summer, and it was great. It's good to see how the flow went, but it just keeps my mind thinking on things that how we can make it easier for you, or things that brings me to this refresher that I think maybe sometimes it's missed that you forget if we give red pens or something like that. Just something to remind you that the resources that you have, and if you don't have them and need something, to please communicate to us. So before class starts, test the equipment, laptop, projector, mic, speakers, Wi-Fi. We've had an interesting challenges with conferences or rooms side by side where remotes interfere with one another, and that's just fun. And luckily, I think Sarah on here, Jeff, they've had and they've brought their own remotes. And I think when we were here, a participant even offered the remote and, those types of things that, yes, always carry one. I actually went on Amazon to see what is available so I could have one as well. But it does get funny, and check the speakers. Those are there. Audio slides. If the videos work, if the video is working without the internet or it has to connect to YouTube, double check that because you don't want it to like stall you at any point during your delivery. Confirm the lunch logistics with the POC. If there's a particular time or that they want before it gets busy, or if they recommend some suggestions that are nearby, or if they have a place to put your lunch in the refrigerator, or whatever the case is, just communicate what their process is because the POC might have a bunch of suggestions for you. Verify the sign-in sheet and Makua. And you're lucky if you do have a co-instructor, so you're able to do that. And it can get a little bit challenging if you are a solo instructor. But you double check beforehand because we do print the roster about 2 weeks out because Herman and Jay need to print and pack everything. So there is going to be a window of that 2 weeks where people didn't register on Makua so that it's not printed on that sign-in sheet. So double check. I mean, people will be like, oh, I did register. Just double check Makua and make sure like, okay, I just sign in. But just to let you, I mean, the alternative to the sign-in sheet would be that we send blank sheets entirely so that you'll just have everybody, signing in so you don't have to like go back and forth. If there's a preference, let us know, but it will be printed about 2 weeks out. One other thing, we have been receiving a few requests for non-US citizens to take the class. They'll reach out to us and we go through the proper channels with FEMA to get them verified and approved to attend. If we get the approval, I'll make sure I email the instructor saying, oh, so and so is approved to attend. And Herman and I got to get Herman and Jay to print it on the roster. At least they're there, just so that you're aware that that participant is approved. Let's see. All right. Well, I will get to the questions. Let's see. Maybe there's some that are appropriate for now. Yes. Is that process still working? Is still working with FEMA closed? No, I don't know. We don't have a timeline on that. So if you are going to ask anything related to the shutdown, we're not impacted. But times on how long will it take to get something certified, recertified, or anything like that, we don't have a timeline. I mean, this is the longest shutdown. But luckily, we're still delivering training virtually and face to face. That hasn't changed. I mean, we have seen some decrease in participants attending because they are federal employees, but we're going to proceed as usual. Anything that is tied with FEMA, like I said, we don't have a specific answer. And then we'll talk more of that later. Right. All right. So welcoming participants, that's the funnest part of the class. The excitement, getting them in. But we got to make sure we're set up. So some participants, like I noticed in Hawaii, will come at 7 o'clock and the class is at 8 o'clock. They're eager, or there's traffic. So some things to anticipate. If the host will allow you access at 7 a.m., great, take it because there are always the very eager ones that want to be there, be in the front row and, be able to listen to everything that you say. So that is important to have that all set up prior to admitting the people. Greet them warmly, confirm the sign-in sheet, registration, pre-test. Like I said, double check Makua if it's not on the hard copy of the sign-in sheet, and then direct the participants to seats with the materials and table tents. I think a lot of you like to direct them to the front, so encourage them to fill that out, fill that in, and have the Sharpies for the pens for the table tents. Ideally, with two instructors, one instructor will greet and the other one will finalize everything. You're just double checking the remotes, double checking the speakers. Because we get caught up being excited to welcome everybody in. All right. Starting off strong. So when class begins, start on time. Start as close to on time as you can. If the class is at 8, start making sure everyone's sitting down at 7:57 so that you can kick it off at 8. That way you'll be able to see what seats are available as people trickle in a little bit later. Um, if there are only a couple of people that haven't completed registration or their pretest, you can start the class because majority of them should. But if there is a significant amount that haven't, then set aside 5 to 10 minutes to complete the registration and post test. If you encounter any issues with registration, logging in, verifying, email NDPTC with their name and email address. It's important that we get both their full name and email address so that we can see if we can find them in the system easier. I think somebody sent John Butler, or it was a common name, and there were many, and it just happened to be that there were many in that same state as well. So give as much information as possible and what the issue is. They a lot of times they can't get their email account verified. There is going to be a window. I think Lydia had just mentioned to me the verification window is now 30 minutes after they received the email. It was shorter than that. So hopefully
One
within,
hour.
oh, 1 hour, sorry, 1 hour. So hopefully within that time, they will receive it and they'll be able to verify it. It was a lot shorter prior to that. There. And
Also, when you send that email, send it to the NDPTC operations list, not just to the NDPTC instructor list. The NDPTC operations list goes to 7 people, and currently the instructor list only goes to Mel and I. So you're relying on 2 of us instead of 7.
what you can do is just respond to the delivery checklist email. So it will go to your co-instructor as well as the ops email. So if it's anything to do like with where's my FedEx, I don't have a roster or something like that, it goes to all of us. So just respond to the delivery checklist email. Everybody that would have their hand in that delivery will be on that email. And I mean, this goes without saying, stay coordinated with your co-instructor. Make sure you're on the same page. I probably should have said this earlier, but if you want to do something different with the activity or something new, communicate that with your co-instructor. As long as you hit the ELOs and the purpose of the practical exercise is achieved, and you want to do something a little bit different, maybe based on the target audience or something that you've seen in a different class, communicate that with your co-instructor just to make sure they're okay with it and that they're not surprised when a different approach is taken. So, mid-morning check-in. This is about the first break, maybe 10 minutes. Maybe after the first module, depending on how quickly you get through the first module, but keep on scheduled breaks, 10 minutes. Meet Remind participants that haven't registered pre-test or any of that, make sure that they've completed by the first break. This is also a good opportunity for you and your co-instructor just to make sure, hey, we're good, everybody's good. Anything happened during that first module that you want to address, you could get that out of the way during the break. You can get through all this during any of the breaks just to reconnect and be on the same page because, I mean, communication is going to be key. After 90 minutes, that is the threshold of how much a participant can miss. So that's 20%. You can start marking no shows in Makua at that point. Um, I wasn't going to mention this earlier. I wasn't going to mention this, but make sure you hit mark as no show for people that are really not there, because if you accidentally mark somebody that's there at the end when they try to access their post test, it's going to say they didn't meet the minimum requirements of the class. So if participants receive that message during class, double check first, Makua, that they were not accidentally marked as a no show. So the best part is the lunch break. That's going to be a fun part because everybody will be able to absorb what they learn so they can talk about it during lunch. So make sure we timely and correctly, we give them the correct time that the host has recommended. Uh, Depending on the facility, they might lock the rooms. Some people might want to stay around, or the room will be absolutely closed for people to stay in there. Confirm with the host what the situation is going to be during lunch, and if there's going to be, what time will the room reopen. And I can't repeat this enough, debrief with your co-instructor to make any adjustments. This could be a time to share anything that you might not have wanted to stop them during their instruction, maybe as a little bit of a correction or something. But take this time to debrief with your co-instructor just to make sure the flow of the remaining delivery is on par with, a successful delivery. All right. Post lunch attendance. Ensure all participants return from lunch. You can confirm by doing a roll call. I mean, that might be a little bit too high school, elementary, but find a way that you can make sure that everybody who left for lunch comes back. I think Steve mentioned to me that they put like initials on the roster, like the participants come back and then put an initial. You can do that, or you can just go check, 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 and make sure the numbers match. Whatever is easiest for you to make sure everybody returns back, just do that, because I've been in a couple of classes where people just bounce after the lunch because of life. And we just want to make sure that if they don't meet the threshold of the 80% of the course, that they are no longer eligible for a certificate. And again, make sure those that do not return, you mark them as a no-show in Makua. All right. Closing out the day, the final module. You'll want to begin the last module no less than 40 minutes before the end. This gives you enough time to get the participants logged in, and completing their evaluation and their post-test. You can play the NDPC video during the evaluation. I mean, it is a long video, so this is a good time because participants are already trying to log in on their delivery checklist to start it. So just, play the video. Anything notable, you can share that on what's on the NDPC video, but it's a good time for them to start. Before they start, really emphasize that the evaluations are important. I think for many of you that have been part of recertification or development of a course, that is the first thing that we look at, is what the participants say about the course. Now, obviously on my end, I like to also look at what are the feedback, the comments, positive and constructive that they have of each of the instructors. So that is important. Um, Encourage them to go online, complete evaluation and post tests all online. But like I said in the beginning, if that's not possible because of something that they weren't able to complete their pre-test or get registered, please do that in hard copy. If a participant did not complete their pre-test online, they will not have access to completing their post-test in the class. It'll tell them that the minimum requirements have not been made. All right. Final checks. So after the last module, confirm with the participant the completion of their post-test and their scores. They should know if they pass the class before they leave. If they need to retest because they receive less than a 70%, just discreetly inform them that they do need to retake the test and you can have them redo it online. Or if it's hard copy, have them do it in hard copy. But that is important because sometimes we've gotten a few post tests where they're just at like this they just got under the 70, but I think if they do it in hard copy, maybe something was missed, and they should have quote unquote failed, and then we have to reach out to them. So that's a little awkward. So as long as they know what they have when they leave and it's correct, uh, obviously that's the idea rather than following up with them after because there was a little hiccup. And again, ensure that the signing sheet matches Makua. We go off of Makua. The paperwork that you guys send back probably doesn't get into our system until a week out. So we like to go off of Makua saying like if Angie's like, "Oh, I can't access the post test." And then I'm like, I'll look in. Okay, Angie, you were there and you completed the class. Then I'll reopen the test. But if Makua is not accurate, we could accidentally open up the test for participants that didn't necessarily complete the class in full. So we pretty much live off what you guys put on Makua. Um, you have up until the end of the class to mark participants uh, as no-shows. So please do that. And if for some reason the window closes because it's taking a while to clean up or whatnot, let NDPTC know. We can mark them as a no-show on the back end because like any of the deliveries, there's a 5-day window for them to complete their evaluation and post tests. And we want to make sure that participants that didn't attend don't get past that window and take their post test. Wrap up and shipping. So I said this earlier, make any like note any exceptions like on the roster or email us, somebody left late or this participant will complete their post test after. I strongly recommend that you do not have any participant leave before they complete the post test online or in hard copy because kind of the back end chasing them does get a little bit harder. So I strongly, strongly recommend that they do take it. There are going to be exceptions if somebody has to dig out late or dig out early, but please make sure you really, really encourage them to complete everything online. One, you guys don't have to grade a test, and two, data entry is a lot easier for us if everything is done online. Um, Organize, alphabetize the paperwork. I mean, you guys know to do that, so please continue. Pack materials and Pelican case. So there are a couple of options. You can ship via FedEx by dropping it off if you have time. Sometimes a FedEx location in a nearby area is not always open. If that's the case, schedule a pickup and leave it with a POC, but make sure you schedule the pickup because the facility might not have a daily pickup or when the FedEx person goes there, they're not going to know that they have additional thing to pick up, whether, it's the Pelican or the course material box, and leave it with a POC or somebody responsible that will be accountable for it. Just make sure you get their name. We've had a lot of things happen where it's just like left with the POC. They didn't know about it. And then we're busy chasing around where the course material paperwork is. And Herman and Jay kind of leaves a note, pretty obvious, that you got to take the Pelican to FedEx or it has to be shipped because it's going to another delivery. So we don't want any hiccup like that because it's kind of like a chain reaction. So if you're in San Jose, it's going to Oakland, but then that next delivery, it's going to Phoenix. It's just moves like that. And we want to make sure we can get that all timely to the next facility. Uh, Okay, Herman and Jay asked me to mention this. Just check that no NDPTC items are left or taken. NDPTC items are labeled. When I say taken, when they open the Pelican, there's a few things that are not even ours, but it's hard to trace which delivery it was from because like I said, there's this Pelicans used at San Jose, Oakland, and then Phoenix. So by the time we get it back from Phoenix, they're like, "Oh, we have two chargers," and then like, we don't even have a hole puncher." So it's little things like that we wouldn't know which host to say, "Hey, Lydia, I have your hole puncher." And a stapler, things that we don't even put in the Pelican. So luckily, no one has reached out to us saying that they do miss their hole puncher or whatever the case is. But our items are labeled. Uh, okay.
One thing about having folks do the post test and evaluations online, try to check in Mapua um, that they passed. Because if they need help, you're there at that time. But if not, we're just gonna email them and they'll kind of be in the same position that they were in while they were there, but without your assistance at that point.
Yeah, it's just like virtual deliveries. Before they go, we got to make sure they can still access their account because once they go, it's just going to be communication back and forth via email. And I know that can get frustrating with a participant that's already having issues. So make sure you can get that all in before a participant departs. All right. Ah, the fun stuff. So after the delivery, your assignment is not done yet. You still got to process your travel completion to make sure you get paid, you get reimbursed. Uh, Forward it to the same email address, the instructor one that you sent in all your travel documents at the beginning. There are a few instructors that I notice they send them as they receive them. So right after their Uber, they send it. They'll be like, Steve, I'll use Steve does it. Steve Wood, Ontario to LGA. Here you go. So we'll have it, and we'll be able to hold it for your completion. Once we compile all of your paperwork, we can process it. So if that's easier for you, please go ahead and do that just so that you don't forget or miss anything. Uh, I know many of you had to send a redacted credit card statement or for transaction record with your name and the last four digits of your credit card. And I know Lydia, I've seen emails Lydia had been asking. The reason to that is sometimes the receipt doesn't show the method of payment or that there's a zero balance or that some sort of advance was paid for a hotel or for a rental car. I don't please don't put any advances unless specifically given approval, like I think hotels for conferences. But other than that, don't because we run the risk of something being canceled and you're going to be out X amount of dollars because we can't reimburse that. So that's the reason. And I know it becomes cumbersome because you have to redact your credit card, but that's all the information we need. We don't need the rest of page 1 through 30, maybe just page 2 where it has the line item. But that's what RCUH will ask for uh, if there's nothing on the receipt that shows it was already paid.
Something else when you guys are sending your travel receipts, don't worry about making them pretty. It's cool to just forward them over. You don't need to turn them into a whole packet. I don't know if it takes you extra time or if it helps you, great. Um, if not, and you're swearing at your computer while you're trying to make this packet for us, don't worry about it. Just forward us the emailed receipts. We can figure it out on this side.
Um, and we can't reiterate that more any more than Lydia has. Lydia's handling all the travel, so you know that she's very on the up and up, and you haven't sent it 4 weeks out. Hey, can you send all this? Hey, I need this, I need that, I need this. So travel is taken care of very well with Lydia and her process. And I just do need to, I want to rewind from the first slide. I was saying, there's been a lot of changes, staff changes. I did mention it back in May or April. Juliana is no longer with us. So all of the travel and assignments, Lydia's doing all the travel and I'm doing all the assignments with the help of some of the other staff in admin. So some things might, especially for the assignments, might not be caught. And I just got to do a better job of reviewing them and revising them. But there are different people in place now in doing those things. And I hope I know travel's doing really well because Lydia does have a system. So I hope it's been seamless since the transition and the change in staffing. All right, so let's go into a few other things, and then we can go through anything that was not addressed in chat and any questions that you have, and then questions that instructors sent via email. So many of you have already seen we've scheduled our virtual deliveries for 2026. Just like this year, if more need to be scheduled based on how full the demand is and everything, we have some wiggle room to schedule a couple here and there. Um, for face-to-face deliveries, we are scheduling training through August 2026. There are some training requests that you've seen that I'm asking for April dates. I mean, sorry, for September dates and beyond. I'm putting that on the side, like kind of like a little wait list before I officially schedule them. Because at that point, we just want to make sure our funding and everything is good to go so that we can start scheduling them and not be too presumptuous. But I don't see any problem that it won't be scheduled, but I can't be certain. So up to August 2026, we'll schedule face-to-face deliveries and we're going to keep on doing it. And then all virtual training has been scheduled in our system. Most of you have been contacted about assignments, and then I'll make an announcement when all of the virtual deliveries have been assigned. uh was it 3 weeks ago maybe? Lydia had posted on our Makua a couple of announcements. One is that we have to transition our awareness courses to management level. Performance classes will remain as is. And there's going to be a course conversions for several of the courses to be a web-based training. Um, some of you have asked, like, what's the timeline? I mean, there would have been maybe a better estimate if the government hasn't shut down. So really, and it's probably what you always hear from us, more to come, because I don't want to speak to something that could change. I mean, you guys have seen how this last 6, 7, 8 months, things do change. Um, you guys have been really understanding about the taboo words, the no words, all of those things. And there was a period from all of February that we were just changing all of the documents, and then more things came. And then some of you guys saw that these are also no words. Like, there was a lot of back and forth. So on Makua, I'm not putting anything in the documents section because there was a lot of changes, and maybe when we know that it's like firm, I'll put it back up there. But right now I'm just posting the announcements on Makua that there is new course materials available. Um, and again, the shutdown, everything with the federal government, We don't have a timeline when that's going to change. If the no words are going to change, if they're going to add more or take them off, I cannot speak to that. Lydia?
So for the transition and conversion, um, I can give you folks the 4 courses that we know for sure are going to transition from awareness level to web-based. And that is the AWR 308 Caregivers course, the AWR 310 Community Leaders course, the AWR 329 Disaster Communications course, and AWR 233, the Volcanic Crisis course. So those 4 for sure are moving to web-based training. Um, all 4 are currently in the process of being developed. Um, but we're not rushing on development because we don't actually know when FEMA will be able to review them. And for anybody that worked on a recertification recently, yes, we are pretty much at a standstill waiting on mostly the letters to come back that the course has been recertified. I think we got 3 like hours before they shut down, but everything else is just kind of sitting there right now.
So hopefully that kind of answered your question. Um, I'm just going through the questions in the chat. If Lydia didn't catch one, I think you caught most of them. Oh, what big issues are being held in zip ties? Okay, let me check.
So Brian had a good question. He asked about hard copy receipts. So yes, um, please take a picture or PDF them. Either way, I'm okay with you texting me a picture or emailing me a picture of your receipt. And then mail them to us. RCH requires us to have the hard copy receipt. They're working on a different process where you can write something very specific on the receipt and then PDF it, but we haven't clarified that with them yet. And the poopy part of that is if you write the wrong thing, it's no longer valid. So we'd like to make sure that's correct before we offer that as an option. Um, Jeff asked, does online registration include the citizenship question? So my answer to that was yes, it does. Before they can even create an account, they or save their account, there's the citizenship question. Now, having said that, that does not prevent people from not telling the whole truth on their online registration and then forgetting that they didn't tell the whole truth and then putting something else on the roster when they sign in. So just be aware that we've seen it happen a number of times. Sarah et al. I'm asking Jay and Herman about the zip ties on the Pelican. I didn't think they were zip tying them when they shipped them out anymore, but perhaps they started again. But we'll work with them on that. Dennis asked if you can unmark somebody who was mark as no-show, and Rob answered yes, because he knows. He is super aware that that's happening. Um, no, Rob doesn't get an award for that. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Oh, yes, they can get a SID, a FEMA SID, regardless of citizenship. Uh, anything? I think that was all the questions. Sorry, no, continue.
No, thank you for going through that. Uh, just a couple of other things I got from, I think I had two instructors had overlapped on email, but I mentioned this in the earlier part about coordinating your travel with your co-instructor and possibly being ghosted or hard to reach out. In all honesty, like I love you guys all, but I know who's hard to reach out to. So I kind of understand the frustration that you as a co-instructor might have because you want to get things done. You want to be able to prepare. Um, so I think I mentioned this to other instructors that I've gotten a hold of that was hard to get a hold of. If we're assigning you to too many deliveries to keep track because you're having travel requests and travel completions having at the same happening at the same time, or you're going from delivery to delivery, let us know. We're gonna need to reassess it because if things are pending, especially with travel processing, RCOH won't allow us to like keep sending you on assignment if you're not sending your travel. There have been a couple that are have a few red flags that we've been able to take care of, but that is going to become a thing because although even Lydia's good at the travel, we can't like track you down we can't track you down, we can't process it. And the amount of days after the delivery, it's 21 days to complete your travel completion. And I think a lot of you have been victim of, well, my statement didn't come in, or my statement won't come at this point. I didn't get the toll receipt. Let us know. We can work with it, or if you don't know when you're going to receive these documents in the foreseeable future, we can check with Sachi and the team if we can just process your travel completion without it. We've done that quite a bit for tolls. So let us know how we can help you if you're not able to send documents, maybe due to travel or whatnot. But that is something that is has been pretty important that we've try to avoid taking anybody off assignment because we haven't been able to get a hold of people. Um, if you are so busy, just tell, hey, Angie, I'm not gonna be on the grid for like 3 weeks. Do what you want, and I'll just follow with the travel. It's all it takes. Because then at least Angie or whoever feels confident and feels okay with making the choices for the delivery. And like, I'm getting the rental car, I'm coming at 6 a.m., so figure out. So whatever the case is, uh, yes, I'll do it. Sorry, I will do almost anything to get my money. Yes. So, and again, like I said earlier, I know who are the instructors that don't get back to us quickly, but then I know who the instructors are that do. And if I don't hear from, like, say, Sarah, like in like a couple hours, I'm like, oh my God, is she okay? Lydia, did you hear from Sarah? So we just know. So if you are more on the delinquent side, let us know so we can help you because I don't want to take anybody off of assignment. Uh,
I
so
think
that was,
one of the big things too is we don't want it to get to the point where our CUH tells us this person can no longer travel.
yeah.
Because they can tell us that. Like if there's too many delinquent travel completions for a person, they can tell us this person can no longer travel until all of this is clear. Um, I think we've only had that situation one time. Um, so we don't want to repeat because that was bad.
One thing, well, one of many things that I didn't mention that I should have, RCUH is cracking down with, uh, I guess, with changes in addresses. If you change your address, you need to let us know, and then you need to change it on the portal. When we know, I'll get Sachi and her team to actually have that processed. But we need to know the exact place you live. That is so important because for tax purposes and everything, if you're working from a different state or whatnot, that becomes a red flag. There was only a couple of times that I have missed, like, sending an address. So I'll make a reminder every 6 months. Just let us know in terms of anything, change email address, change phone, anything like that. With that said, RCOH is also cracking down on ensuring that each of our instructors who are intermittent hires works every 6 months. I've been doing a good job, but then there are, I mean, you guys might be familiar, we have a couple of cancellations, one in a while, whatnot, yada, 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 but we do have cancellations. So some of you might miss the once every 6 months, so we'll need to work to reassign you. But just keep that in mind. We want to ensure that instructors teach at least once every 6 months, at least get you on the schedule to deliver, whether it's virtual or in person. Uh, that was the two ones that I didn't make a note of in the PowerPoint. Uh, okay, well, we have a few more minutes. Uh, does anybody else have any questions? Mm, okay.
Hearing none. Let's go.
Same thing, prepare, deliver excellence, communicate with your co-instructor even when it's hard. Like, like I'm working with Steve and I'm like, Steve, I don't know if you should have done that. So I'm gonna pull Steve aside and Steve, you shouldn't have done that. But on the flip side, Steve did something marvelous, like making sure everybody comes back from lunch. Then I'm gonna pull Steve aside and be like, Steve, you blow my mind. Thank you. But either way, it is good to share with your co-instructor constructive feedback and also positive comments. Because at the end of the day, I don't know what's happening until you tell me what's happening. But for the positive side, it's really good for your co-instructor to know how they are because they need a temperature check on future deliveries. So that is good. It's a good day to be Steve, yes. But I can note everybody here, because you're here too, I know you guys really want to learn. You want to share your comments and feedback. I think somebody had mentioned in the chat, if you have any ideas or other things that were not addressed, send it to I guess you can send that to the NDPT instructor one because it'll be me and Lydia. Um, Anything associated with the delivery, registration, course materials, you can respond to the delivery checklist email. But everybody should have a good day because I'm thankful for everybody here, just looking at whomever's here and what you've done and how busy you've been. Um, yeah, you guys have made it easy because it was a scramble. Like, I don't think anyone really realizes how crazy it was. So for you guys to, help us and be available, especially during the summer, uh, we totally appreciate that. So now we're only slightly chaotic. No. Yeah. Anyways, uh, yes.
Melissa? Melissa?
Yes.
Um, do you have any guesstimate like beyond the August of next year? Like what are things looking like into 2027? I know that's a real reach, but are we just going to keep on keeping on or
Right now, we're just going to keep on keeping on until that point. Um, but I mean, ideally, we would like to have the same amount of funding so we can continue to deliver classes. But again, yeah, that's really hard for me to even say that part.
That's a question far beyond either of our pay grades that's discussed at like the principal and chairman of the consortium level and working in conjunction with congressional representation and the appropriations committees. So not really something that we could speak to. But as long as we continue to get funding, we will continue to do what we are supposed to do. If you have any congressional reach, everybody, hook us up. We love it.
Um,
The more our name can get out there for good stuff, the better. Um,
Jeff asked, are we planning for Primo? I have submitted a couple courses for Primo. However, that's through the federal through NOAA, so I know it went through. Whether or not when will that be processed, I'm not sure. Um, in 27, we'll all be older and wiser and with more experience. So, um, I'm looking forward to 2026. I mean,
A
whatever.
couple of things on the horizon, kind of things that we will let you all know about later when they become for sure. We think we are moving our offices out of downtown, but we will give everyone a pretty significant heads up. If you are going to be traveling during the time that we are moving and you need to send stuff to us, we'll probably have you send it to Jay and Herman because they are already where we are planning to move to. Uh, what else was the other one?
I don't know,
I don't remember. So it wasn't important.
but well, more to come. And I will send a recap with the chat transcript and also the recording so that you can review it again at your pleasure, or other instructors are able to get in with the same information as you. But hey, well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate your attendance. If you didn't get a chance to ask a question, uh, you can email that to us, and then I can make sure I can get that along with the other questions on this chat transcript. Uh, Friends, thank you.